Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Greg, the Painter Servant on the Grindstone, and we are going to do a very quick stream tonight, just to get this out of the way. We have a couple altar highlights, and we're just going to do one deck tech, so we're not going to do any play testing. Anyway, scan that QR code, like and follow, and check out all the different things that I'm involved with. Sublime MTG Altars and Alliance of Military Magic players, of course, representing those communities. And do not forget to use the TCG Player affiliate link. That's one way to support the channel. Thanks for coming by. All right, as always, we have to talk about Sublime MTG Altars. So my wife and her sister, Michiko and Kumiko, do excellent work on hand painting cards of your choice, looking at basically embellishing commanders, making them beautiful. Scan that QR code as well and take a look at all the social media that we are on. Below that is the Alliance of Military Magic players with the cool looking World War II helmet, otherwise abbreviated as AMP. We are a global community of Magic players from across the world, and cater to all kinds of audiences and all kinds of military branches. So connect with us. We operate on Facebook and Discord, and we'd like you all to hang out. All right, so actually what we're gonna end up doing tonight, we have three things, I think. Actually, no, it's just two things. We're just going to highlight the altars that were done recently from the team. Michiko and Kumiko did some really cool ones on cards. Well, Kumiko had a commission, and then we had a stock altar that we just posted and got sold. So we'd like to highlight those. And then we're going to go into a deck tech featuring Akiri Lineslinger and Silas Wren Seeker Adept. So I think we will go straight into the altar highlight. I think the goal is to try and finish out the stream in an hour or less. It is a little bit into the evening, Tuesday night over here in Mountain Standard Time. We will begin with the altar that Michiko did on Steelshaper's Gift. So this altar, it received some pretty interesting comments on the page, and I just what I want to mention here is if no one really knows or no one really remembers, the altars that we do, they're all hand painted in acrylics, right? And really what it comes down to at the end of the day is there is a lot of work that actually goes into each altar. You're looking at 10, 15, 30, 40 hours of work depending on the difficulty of the altar that is being put into the card. And so it's not like we're just freaking printing out an image and then placing it on the card. We're literally replicating an image that we liked, that we found on the internet, and paint it on this card. Okay. And so we did get a lot of different kinds of feedback on the page. I think 95% of the comments are all great. The other 5%, it's questionable as to why they even showed up on the page. But I think it was identified that the reference artist was an AI prompter. I think there's mixed feelings on all of that. But, you know, at the end of the day, like I said, this is a really cool art. We liked it. We found it on the internet. It's kind of like a lot of these altars or the images that are found either by clients or on occasion by us, right? And you know what we just want to do is make people happy. The card is cool, Steelshaper's Gift, right? What it does is it finds any equipment in your deck you search your library for an equipment, put it into your hand, costs 1 white. I think it's a sorcery. And when we saw this reference image, we thought, oh my god, this is really cool. First, we are Final Fantasy fans, right? So, if anyone has followed Final Fantasy, at least, if it was not some of the original Final Fantasy, but later on Final Fantasy VII, of course, everyone remembers Tifa. And I think the AI prompter turns out, right, he likes Final Fantasy, he puts this type of stuff out, that's cool, whatever. So this image we placed on the card, right? We did a mock-up. This is something we were interested in doing. This was cool. And then Michiko spent 15 plus hours putting this together, painting in the likeness of the image, right? And we always give credit to the artists that we have reference work done from. And so Tifa Lockhart, really cool. We saw this one. She's holding the Buster Sword. Very sexy, very cool. We wanted to put it on a card. Which card did it make sense to do it on? And I was like, oh man, I think this would be great on a Steelshaper's Gift. Or it could have been like on a Stoneforge Mystic, who knows, whatever. But this ended up turning out really well. So why did this altar specifically take 15 hours or so? 15 plus hours, right? When you look at a lot of our altars, you'll find that we really take a lot of time basically trying to match the reference image. And so what is the buyer, what is the client, what are they going to get out of this, right? They're going to get an expertly done hand painted artwork in acrylics that matches a reference. Simple. You might think it's simple. It's plain white. The image itself looks simple to do. Crazy enough, I mentioned this in previous streams, but plain white is actually very, very difficult to do on a card. And it's not just, oh hey, a single color. Like, you're doing layers and layers and layers of white on this card. You're painting it on the card, right? And then what the detail in the look at it, he looks more and what we throw on able to reference maybe pure and the is down to the bundle, etc. Like, this is what makes the reference art cool. Anyway, I wanted to let this alter because the ones that we came off of commission on were commissions, but we do have a window where there is an opportunity for people that are interested in buying a card from us. If they can't quite get into the commission queue, this might pique their interest. Why not, right? So I'm just going to do a very quick close-up of the card. It's extremely, very thinly hand-painted. It's indistinguishable from basically other normal Magic cards. And I think the client is going to be happy with what he gets in the mail. It's going to ship out tomorrow. And I think he'll be happy. If anyone's a Final Fantasy fan, I'm sure this is one of those things, one of those cards, one of the characters that a lot of people would like to have in their collections. So I think the clients or the buyer's going to be happy. So we're going to go ahead and put that into a perfect fit sleeve. And we're going to go ahead and throw that in our magnetic card holder. And I'm not sure where that went. There it is. After the altar is done, what we do is we put a matte film finish on it, so that way it'll protect the paint, prevent it from smudging, things like that. So that has been applied to this, which means it's ready to go. Does it look simple? Sure, it's not. I guarantee you it's not. And so whenever folks want to pick up an altar of ours, they know they're going to get a high quality altar, and I think the client or the buyers is going to be able to cherish that when that comes in. That he knows that he spent a good amount of money on it, but he will definitely enjoy it, and I think it'll be showcased very easily with anyone that he plays in his upcoming games against. So that's that. Very quick segment in the stream tonight. Just trying to get it out of the way. We are going to put this in, and we're going to get it shipped out USPS priority mail. Very cool. All right, we're done with talking about Michiko's altar. We are now going to talk about Kumiko's altar that she just finished, and it was some number of days ago. She's in Japan right now. Kumiko's in Japan. She's been there for a couple years. I mean, we left Japan back in 2023. Then we went to Korea. Now we're in Albuquerque. Anyway, Kumiko, we're gonna highlight her altar, and there was a very quick snippet of it at the very beginning of the stream, but I'm gonna go and show it now. Aglaea, I think, is the name of the character. So I actually have been meaning to figure out what this Honkai Star Rail is, because this particular client had commissioned us to do work on this particular character, and then other characters in the past within the Honkai Star Rail series. I think it's a video game, but without messing up some of the background on this, I'm definitely going to go check out what that is and see what the hype is. I mean, I think first of all, looking at Kumiko's work, I think it's great. I think it's amazing. I mean, both my wife and her sister do some really awesome work. And Kumiko, actually, she doesn't usually do foils, and there's a reason for her not to do foils. But one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is not just the amount of work that goes into an altar, right? Because you're trying to capture all of the details in the card, you're trying to match all the colors, the palette, etc. But a client might have a certain request on an altar, and there might be a few reference images that are provided, right? This, I think, was particularly one directly from the Honkai Star Rail series. I think it's miHoYo. I might have butchered the name or forgot exactly the name. But when we select these images, it's provided to us. There might be 2 or 3 or 4. We kind of skinny it down to one, decide, hey, this is the one that actually the artist really likes, and then we make an agreement with the client and say, hey, if you're okay with this, then we will proceed. We'll provide a mock-up, and then from there, some number of 30 plus 40 hours or so on this card was spent to be able to get what you see on the screen there. Now, I didn't articulate it much yet, but so Kumiko doesn't do foils very often, right? And she might do them for repeat clients or whatever. Artists have to be comfortable with doing whatever it is that is asked of them. And so we might get 50 commission requests, we might get 75, we might get 100, just depending on the timing and the season and whatever. We have like 50 plus people on our wait list. But the clients, right, if they want something done on foil, we have to be selective about the art. We have to decide if it's something that that we want to do. Michiko does a lot of foils because she's willing to do them. Kumiko doesn't, And I mentioned the reason why is primarily because foils are extremely difficult to work with. Sometimes the actual texture of the card, in order to expose the foil, it may not give you foil. It might actually just give you plain white. It's crazy. Some sets, I think, like it might have been Innistrad, original Innistrad, or it might have been what is that other one during the old Innistrad block. But we've identified some sets, like we've tested all the sets or most of the sets to determine whether or not it is extremely difficult to not so much difficulty to expose the foil. Sometimes the foil itself turns white, as I mentioned, then it's no longer foil. You're just basically going down to the base card, right? So some sets have a level of difficulty presented to the artist that they're not willing to, or maybe they are willing to work with. But also foils, they strain the eye. So if you're looking at this gosh darn thing for hours on end, right, and the light in the room, the lighting, maybe the sunlight, that's going through the windows, whatever, if it is shining back on that foil, it could end up straining the eyes a little bit or a lot. And so if it irritates them enough, they're not going to want to do it. So there's a premium associated with doing foils, and people just need to understand that a little bit more. Let's just talk about the art itself. So Aglaea, the character on this, really cool, very ornate details. The colors are great. How much time do you think is spent on this thing? Like, what is the quality of altars that you expect to get out of an artist, right? And those are kinds of the questions that you need to ask yourself if you're going to commission us or any other artists out there. Are you willing to wait a week? Are you willing to wait 2 weeks to have an altar done? Like, this altar took definitely over 2 weeks, right? And this is not non-stop work. It's not like they're working 24/7, right? Like, the artist, Michiko and Kumiko, they decide this is on their own time how they want to do their works, and then they do it in the time that they feel like they're comfortable doing it in during the week or days, however many hours it takes, right? Sometimes they might just be able to do it in a 2-day sitting, right? But most of our altars are done over a week. Anyway, there's extreme amount of detail in this. Definitely a lot more detail than the Tifa altar that was done previously. But yeah, what you see is what you get. And if you like what you see, you pay good money for it, right? And that's the expectation, I think, for our clients and buyers, is that they're not getting a really crappy product. They're going to get something really awesome and high quality. Okay. Yep. So the blue kind of foil accents with a little bit of the yellow at the top there, next to her hand. It's on Tymna the Weaver. It's a foil. It's a real card, right? All the cards we pan on are all real, purchased from reputable sources. Kumiko in Japan, she picks it, or we pick up these cards up for her, and it gets sent to her via Hareruya. We have our cards shipped to us through TCG Player, right? And so that all works out. Okay. Did you all think that these altars were cool? Right? The Tifa altar on Steelshaper's Gift on a non-foil card. And then Tymna the Weaver, foil card, of course, heavy hitter, CDH realm, pretty awesome stuff. If you like it, that's cool. Give us a follow. I'm going to post that really quick. Our page again, Sublime MTG Altars. Figure out how to reach out to us. Definitely like and follow. Scan that QR code and check us out. Okay, so what are we going to do next? We are going to very quickly check out the deck tech for Akiri, Lineslinger, and Silas Ren, Seeker Adept. So let me just go ahead and pull that up right now. And I'm going to show the physical cards momentarily. But let's transition, get to there. All right, so if you've clicked on my commander decks via the link tree, you'll get to my page. And I have a lot of decks. I mean, this is all kind of spanning over, you know, the last, I guess, since 2013, 2014, so 13 plus years of deck building. But what we want to do is we want to check out the Akiri Lineslinger deck. And I want to kind of sort of stay in theme with the color combination that we normally have. Or, you know, when I talk about the altar highlights. But because we did the Steelshaper's gift, what I wanted to show you was a pseudo high number of equipment. So it's an equipment style deck with commander damage as a primary win con. The Akiri Lineslinger Silas Ren partner deck. Let's check out what kind of a bracket it's in. It's a bracket 4 deck with 9 game changers. And so the 9 game changers are as follows: Mishra's Workshop, Inline Tutor, Cyclonic Rift, Balaz's Citadel, Consecrated Sphinx, Lion's Eye Diamond, Demonic Tutor, Smothering Tide, then Mana Vault. And we're going to see all the physical cards momentarily, but I just wanted to go over the list really quick. I'll explain the eaches because in the stream, usually I kind of sort of dive into it even when I look at the deck list. But what I really wanted more sort of doing during the stream is just go over the physical cards. So we have 7 Planeswalkers, 14 creatures, 5 sorceries, 5 instants, 30 artifacts, 6 enchantments, and then 31 lands. So this is one of those decks where, because of the high volume of mana artifacts, and low casting cost commanders, I felt that there was no need to go to my normal land count of 33. And then, you know, really what you're looking at is a commander that, because Akiri has First Strike Vigilance and it costs 2 mana, it also has partner, so that's why we can combine it and do a color combination of an additional blue and black, no Silas Ren. That's really cool, but what we want to do is keep the artifact count high so that Akiri can benefit from that number of artifacts they have in play. So a high number of artifacts, many cards that take full advantage of the number of artifacts that are in play, or there's certain triggers that happen in order for you to then maybe produce more mana, etc., because of the number of artifacts. I mean, that's all what it's all about is getting Akiri to connect. Now, I guess the alternate win con in this is Bomberman. So if anyone knows the Legacy deck, old school Legacy deck, Bomberman, it features a critical card called Auriok Salvagers. So Bomberman combo, that's also in the deck. That's the alternate win con. Which combines with Lion's Eye Diamond to basically net you infinite mana and infinite return artifacts that are 1 mana cost or less from your graveyard, bring it back to your hand. Basically keep doing that with Lion's Eye Diamond. You might have some other artifacts that do the same thing, but all in all, really what you want to do is have Akiri connect. She'll have a large power because she gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. And then, of course, you can't have that sort of theme also without having a cranial plating, which does essentially the same thing. And yeah, there's a sub-theme of basically having a crap ton of equipments. And so that's why I want to show the Steelshaper's gift. Unfortunately, there is no Steelshaper's gift in this deck, and gosh darn, if this altar was not going to be sent to the buyer, I probably would have decided to keep it myself. especially with all those comments that were on the page about how the image is crap, whatever. Anyway, let's actually go through the cards now. So we'll transition back to the overhead cam. And look at the physical cards. All right, so we have it's a red, white, blue, black deck with partner. The only reason why it works is because they have both partner on them. This came out, I think, during Commander 2017, and it's important to note that there are not that many partner decks that are around. But this isn't a CDH deck. The only reason why it's a bracket 4 deck is because there's 9 game changers in it. And if you've been following my stream, what you've realized is I've been playing for a long time. All the cards that I purchased, they were all early on during my early years as a young adolescent, and then also later on in life when I started having the opportunity to buy cards that I love, and it worked out. I picked them up even before price spikes, right? When people started realizing, I think during COVID and other times, that it was a good time to pick up some cards, so then prices started to increase. So you might see like a Mishra's Workshop make an appearance during the stream, and that's because I picked that up at a very low cost. Still fairly expensive maybe during that time, but definitely not as expensive as now, because it's probably increased to at least 4 times the amount of what I paid for. 4 to 5 times the amount of what I paid for. Anyway, Akiri Line Slinger, so Silas Wren, he kind of is in the deck because of the possibility of you using him to do recursion. And so recursion is great to have in any deck just for any reason, because you have the ability to play more cards. You just have to have the resources to be able to do that. And so Silas Wren is an easy way of being able to play those cards from after casting him from the command zone. So we'll go ahead and talk about the Planeswalker package. And there are 6 Planeswalkers, and I'll explain the utility of all of them. The Ready Scrap Savant, I already mentioned about the recursion. It's also a draw engine. So you can +2 to discard up to 2 cards and then draw that many cards. And then you can -2 to sacrifice an artifact, so it's kind of like your version of Goblin Welder, but on a Planeswalker. -2, sack an artifact in play. It could be a token artifact, like a treasure, or anything else, something that you don't really need at that time, and then bring back any artifact that's in the graveyard. So it could be something like a Darksteel Forge. Benefit immediately from being able to have that. Saheeli, Sublime Artificer, great card to have, because if you're casting your non-creature spells, you get a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token, right? So that will plus up your Akiri pretty well. Tezzeret the Seeker, really what I'm trying to do is, when I bring this out, I'm probably gonna either untap 2 artifacts, or I'm gonna search out some sort of an equipment that matters. Right, and so the -X feature will be able to tutor for an equipment or any artifact card that you have equal to X. So you can build up Tezzeret to get to more, but usually what I'm probably do is I'm probably gonna just search out for like a Sword of Feast and Famine or Sword of Fire and Ice. Tevis Zot, Doom of Fools. Really, this card exists in the deck, not really to buff up Akiri on artifacts, but primarily to just draw cards. And so if I don't quite need Akiri for some reason, I can play her later. I might be able to draw when I sacrifice her, or just another creature. I'll draw 2 cards, then I can draw another card if the sacrifice creature was a commander. And so I'm almost never really gonna -10 him, but most likely gonna +2 or +1 him. Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge. This is actually, when I think about it, it's not an alternate win con, but it can bring your opponent's life totals down pretty easily. I like to use my Tezzeret to +2 him to deal X damage to each opponent. I love cards that say each opponent on it. +2 to have it deal X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of artifacts you control, then you gain X life. Also, it says creatures and planeswalker spells you cast have affinity for artifacts. So there aren't that many creatures in here. So I like basically his +2, and I may even like the -3. But I'm almost never able to get it to -8 because someone's probably going to want to kill the Tezzeret. But the affinity for artifacts might actually make a difference just depending on how many times you need to cast Akiri from the command zone. Ugin the Ineffable is really awesome. It is removal for your color or your opponent's colored permanents, but also it gives your artifact spells that you cast cost less than 2. Then, in a sense, it kind of is a draw engine because you can have a blocker, but then basically you put that card that you exiled into your hand instead once that spirit leaves play. I put this in here, I think, because, not really for the +1, but I use it primarily for the -2. And so what it does is it will give Akiri flying. So that amount of evasion to be able to do stuff and to be able to connect also with flying creatures is great. Because it'll put 2+1 counters, +2+1/+1 counters on a creature, and then it becomes an angel and also has flying. So great card to put in the deck, in my opinion. I love the card. Also, the art is amazing, and it's great. It gives Akiri flying so she can connect more. Let's go into the creature package. Metalworker. Honestly, I have so many of these metalworkers. It's insane. Because I remember when I first purchased them, it was very early on. I think they were maybe $15 a piece. And then later on in life, I was like, man, this is a great card. I want to have multiple, so I might have like 3 playsets of this darn thing. But it's a great card for a good reason. It's a Soul Ring on a stick, but it's a Soul Ring for each artifact that you play or that you have from your hand that you reveal, so it nets you 2 mana each. Stone Hero Giant is really cool. Since I mentioned that it's a fairly it has a sub theme of equipments. You can search out your equipment by tapping one colorless and a white, and it also has vigilance too. So like you can attack with this card and then tap it and attach whatever it is that you tutor for and put it directly into play. Attach it to him. And that also can be attached to Akiri if you need it. Stoneforge Mystic, part of your tutor package to get more of the equipment into play, and first from your hand and then into play. Emery, Lurker of the Lock. Again, if you want recursion, this is one way to do it. You can put stuff in the graveyard, the artifacts in the graveyard if you have them. But you can also cast them later by tapping Emery. Urza Lord Protector. So this is in the deck with its complementary card with the artifact named Mightstone. So I like, first of all, that it can reduce my artifact cost by 1. But then secondly, when you flip it, once you control both him and the artifact, it becomes a Planeswalker. So if you don't know about this card, you should go check it out. It's a great card. The greatest benefit you can get out of this is having the Mightstone. The Mightstone and Weakstone first in play, and then you can play this later. Or you could do one or the other, it doesn't matter. But having both cards to be able to make him into a Planeswalker is amazing. Again, not many creatures in the deck, but you have Consecrated Sphinx for your draw package. As for Sentinel, more long for your draw package, but it's also an artifact creature, so it pluses up your Akiri. Hellkite Tyrant, okay, I guess I'm missing all the win cons in this deck, but primary win con is commander damage, secondary win con is Bomberman combo, third win con, I guess you would say, is Hellkite Tyrant, which still buffs up your Akiri, so if you're not going to be able to win with this, you're probably just going to end up winning through commander damage anyway. So because when it connects, then you gain control of our artifacts that player controls that you dealt combat damage to with it. Draw package again, but also really cool because if you have metalcraft, you can pay 0 instead of the equip cost of equipments. So this will trigger to draw whenever an equipment comes into play. Goblin Engineer for your necessary tutor for certain artifacts. It's kind of like your Goblin Welder, but because it costs 1 more, and then it's a modern playable card. Great to have, except you need to pay 1 red to sack an artifact and then put an artifact card from your graveyard into play, as long as it's a 3 mana cost. Sai Master Thopterus, pretty cool card. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you get a Thopter, and then you can also sacrifice 2 artifacts to draw a card with it. This is a cool card. So if you've never heard of Guardian Beast, it's probably because you're too young, haven't been born yet, and just never really maybe found the utility in looking at old cards from the Arabian Nights sets and Legends and all that. But anyway, this is Guardian Beast from Legends. Great card, 3 colorless and a black. It's very faint seeing the 3 in there, but basically it protects all of your artifacts. They can't be further enchanted, destroyed, or taken under someone's control as long as it's untapped, right? So I like playing this card really because I think I only have 3 copies of this. But I remember when I first bought this card, it was actually because I wanted to do kitchen table magic and to play out Chaos Orb, because Chaos Orb would never get destroyed while this thing is in play. So I love that it's old. I love that it's vintage. It's cool, and it reminds me so much of when I used to play Chaos Orb doing kitchen table magic. Okay, I mentioned Bomberman combo. This is Bomberman, right? This will combo out with Lion's Eye Diamond, a colorless and a white, return target artifact card with converted mana cost 1 or less from my graveyard to my hand. Basically, I infinitely play out Lion's Eye Diamond by returning it from my graveyard. And then basically, after I decide I have enough white, I'm going to choose either red, maybe blue, and it's going to combo with the 1 mana artifacts that might be in the graveyard at the time. Arden Intrepid Archaeologist, pretty cool card. Again, you have a lot of artifacts that are equipment, and you can attach them to Akiri just by triggering this at the beginning of combat trigger. You can attach any number of aura and equipment you control to target permanent player, that permanent being an Akiri. So the next thing I'm going to show here are the sorceries, but the sorcery package is some amount of either damage to creatures or a tutor like the demonic tutor. But Chandra's Ignition is great. Now, this is the reason why you don't have too many creatures in the deck, is because you don't necessarily want to destroy those creatures. So you play a card like this to take full advantage of Akiri's power, which then will deal damage equal to Akiri's power to each creature and each opponent. So Akiri might be like a 15-4 or whatever, or 15-3, and so this will do 15 damage to each player, each creature, including yours. And along those same lines as things like Blasphemous Act, you don't have a lot of creatures in the deck, but there's probably going to be creatures on the opponent's side. That's fine. Kill the board, wipe the board, and it's good to go. Nibelheim Flame. So this is like your Chandra's Ignition, except it only deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. But if you play it for its flashback cost, this gives you draw. So this is the reason mainly why I include it in the deck. Is to be able to get that draw. It says, if the spell is cast from a graveyard, discard your hand and draw 4 cards. I mean, there's a very high chance in this deck that all the mana that you're spending on different things, whatever, you probably get Hellbent, so have an empty hand, and then you can just draw more cards. You draw 4 cards, right? Red Sun's Twilight is pretty cool. So it can destroy artifacts your opponents control, or just any artifacts, and then you can then, if X is 5 or more, create a token that's a copy of it. So if you have artifacts on your side, but you have pesky artifacts on your opponent's side, you can destroy them for at least 5 or more artifacts, and then you can create that many, and then those tokens are going to be available to you to beef up your Akiri. Demonic Tutor, enough said. Search your library for any card, which is a game changer, by the way. This is the next game changer, your Cyclonic Rift. You want to overload this, but if you have something that you want to hit early on, that's fine. You could do that. Return basically all non-land permanents your opponents control to their owner's hand. There's a good reason why this is on the game changer list. Deadly Relic, really cool. Now, honestly, you may not need a free spell like this because Akiri is very easily cast, but I like it. It's a cool removal spell. Stubborn Denial, so pretty cool counter spell, and it almost always will allow you to be you almost have Ferocious all the time because Akiri is gonna have such a high power. So I opted to include this versus a counter spell because I like the flavor of the Ferocious in there. Swords of Plowshares, exiling creatures for an instant with 1 white, and Light Tutor for the card that you need at the right time to get the artifact or enchantment that you need to use for the board. Cloud Key, great card. Any artifact deck basically needs to run this. When it comes in play, you choose enchantment, artifact, creature, instant, or sorcery spells you control. The chosen type of will cost 1 less to play. Now you could do this probably for all those other different card types, but I clearly use this for artifacts. It's great. The Might Stone and Meek Stone, again, I mentioned that this needs to pair with your Urza Lord Protector. Great card. It's good for removal, mana, or even drawing cards. So you have options. Mox Amber, really great card. And, if you're playing low mana cost commanders, you want to throw Mox Ambers in there because it will tap for a mana of any of the colors among legendary creatures in control. This basically is played in CH, but I mentioned this is not a CDH deck. It's a bracket 4. This just does not play well into CDH, especially if you're just trying to go for commander damage. Lion's Eye Diamond, part of the Bomberman combo. It's a must-have. And then, of course, Soul Ring, tap to add 2. Your Mana Vault, tap to add 3. Your Mox Opal, with Metalcraft, tap to add 1 mana of any color. So it's somewhat limited, but you're playing a lot of artifacts, so you want to play this. And then it's an easy 0 drop to add to your Akiri's power buff. Crocline Ironworks, not just add mana, but if you need cards at the graveyard and you want to bring back, that's fine. You could do it with things like Goblin Engineer or just Ready Scrap Savant. There's no Goblin Welder in this deck because I have Goblin Welder in other decks. It could be. I decided not that big of a deal to have it. It's a 1/1, can be easily removed. I thought it was fine to cut. Let's start talking about the equipment. So Sword of Feast and Famine, I'd say is number 1 amongst all the swords. When your creature deals combat damage, the opponent discards a card, then you get to untap all your lands. Sword of Fire and Ice, probably the number 2 in terms of the best swords to put in the deck. Draw cards, deal 2 damage to creatures. Just 1 creature. Cranial Plating, this version of an artifact that basically does exactly what Akiri does, so you plus her up twice, which is great. Hammer of Nazan, I remember when this card was like 15, 20 bucks. Now it's like 5 or something. But instead of paying the equip cost of your equipments, you can just have those artifacts come into play and then immediately attach to a creature you control, which is great. But also the equipped creature becomes indestructible. Now, you might think this is indestructible. It's not. Just be aware of that. Kusarigama. I love this card. It looks, like on the surface, it looks weird, but you have to read into this thing. Whenever equipped creature deals damage to a blocking creature, Kusarigama deals that much damage to each other creature defending player controls. So if you attach this to your Akiri and your opponent is near commander damage, like lethal range, he's probably going to block. But what that's going to end up doing is the damage that is done to that one creature that he blocks with is going to basically deal that much damage to each other creature they control. So it's a board wipe with on an equipment, right? Now, the great thing about Akiri is she has first strike. So regardless, right? If someone is within commander damage lethal range, they're gonna block, and then this is gonna board wipe their side. Excalibur, Sword of Eden, great card to have. You're playing a lot of historic spells, and you're only gonna attach this to Akiri, and you may be able to attach it to Silas Wren, right? But that's kind of the condition of being able to equip it to a legendary creature. You want this on a legendary creature, so you can do the things that you need to do. Plus 10/0, it has vigilance. Akiri already has first strike and vigilance anyway, but that just gives it the bonus. Reaver Cleaver, great card, creates treasure tokens that can further buff Akiri. +1/+1 and trample. Trample is actually huge in the deck, and is pretty much absolutely necessary for Akiri to connect. It's either going to be trample damage, or it's going to be flying damage. That's what you want. Argentum Armor, it's a little high casting cost, but if you have things that are permanents that need to get destroyed and you have no other way to do it, this can be tutored out so that when your Akiri attacks, not only does it get +6/+6, just from the static ability of the card, but also it can destroy a permanent. Gaia's Dark Hammer, originally known as Colossus Hammer. I've not actually played the Final Fantasy game for this. But this will still continue to give Akiri the pluses that it needs. It's only 1 mana artifact, equipment, and you're almost never going to pay the equip cost because you have some other ability to be able to attach it immediately directly to Akiri. Swiftfoot Boots, enough said. I didn't include Lightning Greaves in this deck because Lightning Greaves would give Akiri Shroud, and because you have equipments that need to attach to Akiri, you can target it if it has Lightning Greaves. Plus, Lightning Greaves is primarily for, I would say, commanders that that are probably a higher casting cost than 2, and so you want to equip it immediately. Here, you can equip with 1, not a big deal, especially if Akiri is a 2-drop commander. Ember Cleave, pretty great. I mentioned it's either trample or flying damage that needs to connect. This will give you double strike and trample, right? So you'll connect twice, which is great for Akiri. Infiltration Lens for your draw, because there's a good likelihood you're gonna get blocked by Akiri to prevent commander lethal damage. Shadow Sphere, again, for your trample effects, and then Lifelink, right? So sometimes there are different games where opponents might actually be able to connect more so against you, and that's really because you have a lack of creatures in this deck, but also your Akiri is only 1 blocker usually, right? Now, the great thing about Akiri and Silas Wren is they have some kind of evasion in a sense, or have the ability to intimidate an opponent from attacking you, because Akiri has first strike, Silas Wren has Death Touch. Grafted Exoskeleton for the opportunities to use Infect to kill an opponent, maybe early on. Aether Spellbomb and Pirate Spellbomb. I'm just going to pair them up in here in the beginning. So if I have Bomberman, I'm going to want one of these 2 spell bombs also in the graveyard so I can deal infinite shock damage, or I can also do infinite creature bouncing, and then I can also, between the 2 cards, draw cards. So I can draw my whole deck if I have Bomberman in play. Disperse Capsule, just great utility. You can also have Bomberman destroy everything that is artifact or enchantment on the board. Darksteel Forge, all artifacts you control are indestructible, so that's great, but it does cost 9, so you might want to cheat it out with the Duretti, hopefully, but there might be occasions where you could just pay the mana into it and it's 9. Mystic Forge, great card. This doesn't exactly combo infinitely like some of my other artifact type decks do, but it'll always have the opportunity to give you that you can cast those artifacts from your top of your library. Mycosynth Lattice, it will continue to buff your Akiri, which is great, and then you can take full advantage of this card from things like Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge. Key to the City, great card because you want your Akiri to be unblockable. So if you're going to discard a card, let's say it's a Darksteel Forge or some high, mana cost artifact, you can always recur it later on. Belost Citadel, another game changer. You may look at the top card of your library, and then you can play those cards from the top of your library. So I put this in the deck because you, again, like I said earlier, you may get Hellbent, and it's easy for you to basically play out all your spells. Sigarda's Aid, great card, kind of like your Hammer of Nizam, but you can flash in your enchantments. I'm sorry, your artifacts that are equipment. Repercussion, also great. It's kind of in the same line of thinking of the Kusarigama, right? So if your Akiri, which deals first strike damage, deals that damage to a creature, that will then get damage dealt to the creature's controller. So Akiri will always do first strike damage, right? And so if there are multiple creatures that will end up being able to kill Akiri, then that's the only detriment in having this in the deck, is that damage will then bounce or then hit you. But there's a reason why she has first strike. It's really cool. Smothering Tithe, a game changer. It nets you treasures. Use the treasures for what you need it for. Good to go. Efficient construction. You're playing a lot of artifacts, so why not benefit from casting those artifacts so that it can produce you Thopters, which are also artifacts, which will buff Akiri. Friction in Scriptures is cool, so it's a board wipe. What you want to do is when you have the first chapter get triggered. When you have the first chapter resolve, you want to put that +1/+1 counter on Akiri so that you can make her an artifact creature. Then that counts herself as an artifact. Then you destroy all other non-artifact creatures. So another reason, again, why I don't have that many creatures in the deck is because I have effects like this that can destroy all creatures, or all creatures that are not my commander. Consular Crackdown. So I put this in the deck. I think originally I had a Vandal Blast, but I didn't mind doing this because this I thought was cool. Originally I said, hey, I don't have enough Vandal Blast, I'll just throw this in there instead. Great cards still cost basically the same amount of mana as you would when you overload Vandal Blast, but this is an enchantment which is a little bit harder to remove and probably harder to respond to. Academy Ruins. Now we're going to the lands, so we'll talk about that here. And Academy Ruins, part of your recursion package. It's great, so it's utility land. Then, of course, if you want Akiri to buff, you want all the artifact lands that you can. I chose not to include the artifact tapped lands that are dual color. I only wanted the ones that were single color. So you have Ancient Den, Great Furnace for red, Seated Sign-Out for blue, and then Vault of Whispers for black. The next thing I'm going to show are the 2 bounce lands that pertain to the colors for my commanders. So you have Boros Garrison for red-white, and then Dimir Signet for blue-black. Now, I only included those because I wanted to include these other cool lands, especially like the Triumph type lands. And I thought it was fine if I just did 2 instead of, I guess, the possible 6 for all the colors. But then I think I only had like the 2 or 3 foils of whatever the color combinations that I had. So Triumphs, there's only 2 right now. I think when I first initially built this deck, the ones that came out during the Streets of New Capenna ones, they weren't available, so I didn't put it in here. These are in there, that's fine. Command Tower, of course, that's a must-have, and especially a higher than 1 color deck. Uthos, this is probably the newest card that I put in here. it's your academy, or Tymna Academy on a different type of land, but you can get your, you could get the same effect, but you do need to have the stationing of this happen in order to produce that amount of mana. Inventor's Fair, really cool card. It's a tutor for an artifact that you can get immediately that you need. Well, not immediately. You have to have the condition set for that. You can search for it, an artifact card, reveal, put it into your hand. You can only do this if you have 3 or more artifacts. And I mentioned Mishra's Workshop. I'm just gonna do a close-up for this. I own 2 copies of Mishra's Workshop. Freaking phenomenal card. I wish I bought in earlier when I had the money and the desire and motivation. I didn't. I opted to only buy 2. Actually, at the time, I think my focus more was on getting Gaia's Cradles, especially the Judge Foil ones. I only have 2 of this. It's unfortunate, but at some point in time, I might end up completing the playset. But that will tap to add 3 colorless mana that can only be spent to use on artifact spells. Now, the only other Mishra's Workshop I have is in my Karn deck. Now, this is not going to give you the mana you need for your colored commanders, but this will give you the artifact mana, or the mana needed for artifacts. Then we go into the fetch lands. There are 6 of them. Your Arid Mesa, white red, Bloodstained Mire, black red, Flooded Strand, blue white, Marsh Flats, white black, Polluted Delta, blue black, and then your Scalding Tarn, red blue, right? And so you need the mana fixing as much as possible. So search out your shock lands, triumphs, or regular dual lands, right? Blood Crypt, Goddess Shrine, Hollowed Fountain, Sacred Foundry, Steam Vents, and then Watery Grave. So you want shock lands, then you want dual lands. That'll complete the package. The colors are there are all 6 of them there. Badlands, Plateau, Scrubland, Tundra, Underground Sea, and then Volcanic Island. Right. So I love this deck. It's awesome. If you're interested in taking a look at the deck, check out my link. Go to the tabs, search out my commander decks via Moxfield, and this will get you there. Really cool. All right, so I think we are just under an hour, maybe a little bit over an hour on the stream, which is cool. I needed to get this out of the way just to highlight the 2 altars that were recently done, put that in the books, talk a little bit about the Akiri Line Slinger Silas Ren deck tech. Hope you enjoyed that. That was a really cool pairing in my mind. I think part of the Commander 2017 kind of set of Commander decks was that was probably the first time they really acknowledged that you would probably be able to play 4 colors, right? So they had the Yidris, they had the Kanaios and Tyro, right? So probably up until that time you resorted to maybe having your Nephilim, right, that you want to play. Because they had the Nephilims that were basically 4 colors, but they were not legendary. So you needed to have the option. And I think for the blue, black, red, white face card commander, I think at the time for this deck was, holy cow, what's the name of that creature? The name escapes me, but that was the face card of the deck. I chose this other one because, I think it's Brea Ethereum Shaper. I didn't want to play the Brea Ethereum Shaper because a lot of people were doing it, and then they were just doing stupid combos that basically used Sharum, the Hegemon, right, to just combo out. I didn't like to just do that because it felt lame. I do play infinite combos, but I don't try to play a lot of what a lot of people were doing at the time. Anyway, I hope you liked that. Again, if you're interested in any of that, go check out my link and like and follow. All right, we are just about done. So we're going to do a recap. We just finished that. We talked about the 2 altars done by Michiko. She did the Steelshaper's Gift with Tifa on it. Really cool card. This ships out tomorrow. Awesome. And then we did have the other altar done by Kumiko, which is the Aglaea on Tymna the Weaver. If you enjoyed that, go like and follow the Sublime TG Altars page. Give us a shout out, and we don't mind. We don't mind extra followers. Earlier this year we hit 12,000. We'd like to hit 13,000 where we're going to do a giveaway, I think. But in order for you to do that and maybe be eligible for it, you need to go like Sublime TG Altars, scan that QR code, and check out our works. All hand painted works. Dozens of hours of time are put into this, and you get a high quality product at the end of it all, right? Okay. With that, we are ready to close out. I'm just going to play some music, and that'll be that. Everyone have a good one. Have a good night. And we'll see you in the next go around. I think this weekend we're going to be playing some Commander with friends. Just got to update my sign up spreadsheet. Take it easy, everyone.